The new multi-banner is here and it's spring themed. We get 2 throttling fluff, interactive Kindles, new outfits for us and the love interest, a new minigame, and the blowboos are back. So by popular request, after the previous multi-banner, Catch-22, a lot of you wanted me to actually dive into the cards instead of talking about them briefly. So grab a drink, get a snack, this is gonna be a long one, because I'm going through every single card in this event and we're gonna talk about them in detail. Also, can we talk about the duality of these last 2 multi-banners? Catch-22 was a full-on post-apocalyptic alternate universe. It's got this very edgy, dark vibes, everyone was feral, and this one? A complete 180, and honestly, I love it. One thing I really appreciate that they kept from the last banner, the interactive kindled animations. Being able to move the camera around and interact with the love interest, I absolutely love that, and I hope that they keep that from now on. All the cards for this banner are really sweet, like tooth-rotting sweet, but after watching all of them, I can't help but feel like some are quietly hinting at future conflict. And at the same time, we're also watching each love interest grow, and more importantly, watching their relationship with our main character evolve. Some of the cards are fluffy, sweet, and soft, and some, they feel a little heavier under the surface. We'll get into all of that as we go through the cards. Before we begin, I have to mention this first. I'm not here to tell you how to think or how to interpret this story. I'm just here to share my perspective. If you have anything to add, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Okay, let's start with Xavier. So for me, the theme of Xavier's card is about belonging and acceptance, how his perspective shifts as he learns to let go of guilt in the past. It's about choosing to be present, choosing to be remembered, and slowly allowing himself to belong in a world he never thought he'd stay in. So this card starts with MC asking to borrow a book from Xavier, and they end up digging through his storage, which by the way is filled with stuff from all kinds of eras, literally centuries worth of things he's collected over his 200 years on Earth. One of the things they found in that storage is a vintage film camera, the kind you have to develop to see the photos. But the camera's been sitting in the storage for so long that it's barely functioning, so they decide to fix it together. Not just to restore it, but so that they can use it, to take photos, to create new memories. And we find out that photography means something to Xavier. He doesn't take pictures casually. He said he goes through these shots slowly, intentionally, because he wants to remember what those moments meant, not just what they looked like, which makes sense when you think about who he is. This is someone who's had to erase himself from people's lives over and over again. In his first anecdote, he fakes his death after working for years as a police officer. And many years later, he visits his own grave and runs into an old friend who's now aged while Xavier hasn't changed at all. They don't say much, but they took a picture together, and we get this line. After many years, he finally leaves a bit of himself in someone else's story. This line from his anecdote is so much more significant now because in this card, we see him doing it again, leaving a bit of himself in someone else's story. But this time, it's not because he was caught standing over his own fake grave, or because someone who thought he was dead asked for a photo. He's doing it because he wants to. Now, he's taking pictures on purpose. He takes his time with them, go through each one slowly so he can remember what it meant. He's not just collecting memories for himself, he's choosing to preserve the ones they make together. He's documenting his life with our main character. He's leaving traces of himself in her story as well. And that's the growth. I want to mention the moment that really got me emotional is when Xavier expresses his gratitude. So gratitude isn't something Xavier has let himself feel very often. I mean, how could he? For over 200 years, he's carried the weight of failure, blaming himself for the loss of his home, for what happened to his backtracker team, for every life that was altered because of the mission he led. In World Underneath 4, he was still aching for what he left behind, for his MC, his people, and his home. But now in this card, he's not mourning the past. He's choosing to be here, to stay, and in his own quiet way, he says it out loud.
I'm also grateful. I'm grateful that we found this new field of flowers in the forest. The scenery I once saw by myself no longer exists only in my past. And I'm grateful that you'll be here for this spring. and for the ones in the future.
He's no longer clinging to the world he lost. He's planting himself in the one they're growing together. And it was probably really reassuring for him to hear RMC say something like, "This is selfish of me, but if you had gone back home, we wouldn't be here now." It's so satisfying to see him kind of realize that he's allowed to be happy too, and he doesn't have to carry that guilt forever. Also, can we talk about Xavier showing up on a horse to pick up RMC to replant the flowers? They didn't even animate this, but when I saw him in that spring outfit and imagining what's written in this scene, him on top of a horse, I was like, oh, that made my heart race a little bit. Look, I know that there is no fucking way that anyone from Infold is watching my videos, but just in case anyone is out there watching, I'm begging you, please, in the future, I want a beautifully 3D rendered Kindle animation of Xavier looking regal as fuck on top of a horse. I feel like this is something that the Xavier girlies would want to see as well. Alright, moving on to Zayne. So for me, the theme of Zayne's card is emotional safety, getting to love someone openly without fear or restraint. This card is a celebration of how far they've come, how much they've both grown, and especially how far Zayne's come emotionally. He's letting go of the distance, the careful control, and just loving RMC out loud. To me, compared to all of the cards in this banner, this is the lightest one, the fluffiest one. There's no underlying angst, no emotional landmine tucked under the fluff. It's just sweet, and it lets us enjoy them being in love without holding our breath. And honestly, Zayne deserves it. I don't know why, but I've canonically named Zayne the Angst Man in my head. I know all of the boys, all of their lore carries some kind of emotional weight, tragedy, and a lot of angst, but with Zayne, somehow it just feels heavier. There's always this quiet ache with him. Whether it's his kiss cards, his personal story branch, or even his anecdotes, there's always this thread of yearning, of restraint. Like Dawnbreaker. Don't even get me started on Dawnbreaker, but you get what I mean when I call him the Angst Man. His story is filled with longing, with hesitation, with this constant push and pull between wanting RMC and holding himself back. So the fact that this card is just pure joy, I'm just so happy for him. Story-wise, this card revolves around MC winning the Hunter Award and representing Lincoln, and Zayne, he's acting like a proud boyfriend the entire time. It's just so precious.
Don't you know what you look like? I'd like 10 copies of Dawnlight Weekly, please. Who says they're just for me? Grayson, Yvonne, Dr. Riley, Dr. Noah, and everyone else in the division wants to read it. Oh, and my parents.
What's even better is how honest he is. When people start swarming RMC, we see this internal tug of war. He's proud, but he's also possessive, and he doesn't know how to feel. And that tension, I love it. Because it shows how complicated Zayne's feelings are. How proud he is of her, like genuinely. Like he's bursting with admiration, but at the same time, there's that flicker of jealousy, of wanting to keep her all to himself. He's watching her shine in front of everyone else, and for someone who's spent so long keeping his emotions under control, this push and pull between pride and possessiveness feels so genuine and unfiltered, like we're watching the quiet parts of love most people don't talk about. And we've been seeing this shift in Zayne for a while now. He's becoming more open, more emotionally expressive. In Nightly Rendezvous, he talked about how losing control was addictive. In Everlasting Wish and now this card, he calls MC someone he loves. He even admits to being greedy. He wants her all to himself, which is such a contrast to the Zayne we saw in the past, like in Business Trip, for example, which was released more than a year ago. In the past, Zayne is the one who waited to show affection until they were alone, who held everything in with practiced calm. But now, he is full on making out with her in a public garden and telling her he wants her all to himself, and I love this card so much. I think it's my second favorite. And this card also confirms something that's only been hinted at before, that RMC has loved Zayne since they were kids. And that just made my heart so full. I'm just so happy for them. The Angstman absolutely deserves all the fluffy and sweet cards because, come on, we know that there's so much angst waiting for us when it comes to Zayne's lore, and we know that we're gonna cry a lot. I mean, just look at the ending of his story branch. The other two ended in a more positive note, but his story branch ending is him having a nightmare. So these fluffy cards, I'm treating them like they're just emotional compensation for all the tears I'm going to shed later for Zayne. Up next is our sassy, cutie patootie fish, Rafayel. Before I say anything else, I need to get this out of my system and I'm gonna fangirl a little bit. Out of all the boys, Rafayel looks the best in this outfit. Everybody looks good, but he looks the best in this spring outfit. And that kindled animation, this man is in his element. I mean, just look at him. There is a reason why this man is the face of this game. He's just so freaking beautiful. Okay, I'm done fangirling. Let's talk about his card. So for me, the theme of Rafayel's card is enduring love in the face of uncertainty. It's about holding on to someone even when the future feels fragile and unknown. And beneath all the fluffy softness in this card, there is something else brewing. The devs are 100% foreshadowing something in this card. We'll talk more about that in a bit. So the story starts with Rafayel and MC visiting the Neon Botanic Garden, a place we've seen before in Floral Promise. They're talking with Charles, who is the garden's owner and Rafayel's friend, about this new flower species that blooms underwater that is later shown and presented to the visitors of his exhibition at the end of this card. So long story short, Rafayel is planning a flower-themed exhibition tour, and MC is involved in all of it. She helps pick the venue, basically takes on the role of curator for his final exhibit. And the venue she chooses? A scenic wisteria grove. And right away, you can tell the plants in this card isn't just about plants. It's symbolic. In some East Asian traditions, especially through poetic and artistic imagery, wisteria is often associated with enduring love and connection. Its vines cling and twist, symbolizing bonds that persist even through distance or time. Hi. Editing Angel here. Now that we're on the topic of wisteria, there's something really important I want to bring up. Back in World Underneath 3, which seems to take place around the same time as one of the early main story chapters, we saw Rafayel at Aunt Talia's wedding. There's this part where she asked him if he's ever thought about his own wedding, and Raf flat out answers no. And it feels like Rafayel doesn't allow himself the luxury to even imagine such a future. And I think we all know why that's his answer. So the significance of wisteria here is even more powerful if we tie its symbolism to the Japanese myths recorded in the Kojiki. Wisteria was what finally won over the goddess Izushi Otome, a deity who had firmly rejected the idea of marriage and was known for her resistance to courtship. According to the Kojiki, it wasn't until a suitor presented her with wisteria that her heart began to soften. And maybe this is the devs nudging us toward the possibility that just like this goddess, Rafayel's heart is changing too. And the meaning of that flower remains the same in this card. RMC is choosing to express her feelings through the language of flowers. Both Rafayel and MC are quietly anxious about the possibility of being separated, about Rafayel one day returning to the ocean, leaving her behind. But through these flowers, she's making a statement, a promise. No matter how uncertain the future is, no matter where he might have to go, her feelings will stay rooted right here with him. It's kind of like her saying, I'm here, I'll stay, I'll choose you, even if I don't know how our story ends. And for Rafayel and MC, that is huge because we've seen their ending play out again and again. Their love constantly caught in impossible sacrifices, timelines collapsing into tragedy, their stories ending in ruin. In God of Tides, he betrays the ocean itself for her. In Abysswalker, he refuses the ending fate wrote for them, choosing instead to protect her at all cost. What they're declaring to each other in this card is gentle, yet fiercely defiant. It's their quiet rebellion against every version of their love that was fated to end in tragedy. It's them declaring clearly and deliberately that they will endure no matter what. Also, I love that we're getting to see more Aunt Talia. It is so cool to see more of her because I love her so much, and also she's so goddamn pretty. But what I love even more, and what I've been noticing a lot more lately, is Rafayel integrating MC to every part of his world. Not just his work, and not just the curated surface, but the core of who he is, his people, his kin, his family, the Lemurians, the ones he would kill for, literally. And he doesn't just invite her quietly either. He brings her into it all, out loud, into his birthday celebration where she meets his family, into his memories, his community, like in World Underneath 13, where he surprises Thomas, his longtime friend and manager, and brings her along without hesitation. And now, when he's publicly showing off his art, he low-key publicly announces their relationship in the opening of his exhibition. And she's not just attending, she's helping him plan it, choose the space, paint the setting. It's like she's shaping the canvas of his world. And finally, let's talk about something I think is subtle but intentional foreshadowing by the devs. That underwater flower revealed at the end of the card, the one that Rafayel names after RMC, the flower that means to never part ways in the language of flowers. I feel like that's really significant because we know how meaningful names are to Lemurians. Remember in Floral Kiss, Rafayel says,
"All forms of life have the same beginning, but their names make them special. A name is the most effective spell in the world. When you call someone's name, in that moment, an invisible bond is formed."
So in this card, when he says,
"From this moment onward, the deep sea won't be able to separate us."
do you see what I'm seeing here? I can literally imagine the devs just rubbing their hands together, so pleased with themselves for planting this subtle seed of anguish into our heads. This card keeps gently reminding us that there's a possibility he might one day return to the ocean, leaving our main character behind. And now we got a flower that blooms underwater, named after RMC, symbolizing their bond. Listen, I just have a feeling that this flower is going to show up again in some future tragic story branch or myth. I can already picture the cinematic moment where they're separated by the deep sea or timelines or whatever the fuck, and the only thing connecting them is this symbolic flower blooming defiantly underwater. Or maybe I'm just delusional, but I truly think this card is quietly saturated with future tension. There's also this line that caught my attention in this card. "Just as I imagined, our little train glides across the sparkling water, as if to carry Rafayel and me back to the sea." To me, this line feels like another quiet nudge from the devs, a reminder of what might be waiting down the line. Not just the possibility of separation, but also the possibility of that one day our main character might follow Rafayel back to the ocean. Moving on to the next one is Sylus. Sylus girlies, buckle up. I've got so much to say about him because first of all, he's my main, and second of all, because his relationship with our main character has grown so much since his release, and the progression of their relationship has been the most satisfying slow burn to watch, in my opinion. Let's start with his evolve, specifically the moment in the Kindle scene where he changes the color of the flower crown, and in the event chapters where he forces a flower to sprout and bloom to life. His evolve has always been described as energy, and yes, we have seen him making a flower bloom with his evolve in Nightly Rendezvous, and yes, we have heard him mention before in his dragon myth that he could resurrect an entire dead city. But until now, I never really sat with the implications of what he meant when he said this. I think there's still so much about his evolve that we don't know, that hasn't been explained yet. He can give life just as easily as he can take it. He can look into people's desires, and he can make living things change at a molecular level, like altering the color of a flower. That's wild. What else can he do? And the more I think about it, the more I realize again how little we still know about the true extent of his abilities. Even the fact that he can just poof or teleport wherever he wants, just like Xavier, despite having a totally different evolve, that's never really been explained. It's another one of those things you can quietly add to the growing list of parallels between these two. So the theme of this card, actually the theme of all his cards recently, I feel like we're seeing two very consistent themes: trust and the merging of two worlds. Or maybe more accurately, the ability to drift in and out of each other's worlds without losing yourself. They don't need to change who they are, they just make space for each other. And that's what this card shows us. It opens with Sylus and MC going on a little movie date in Lincoln. And we see Sylus, the literal ruler of the N109 zone, the man on the top of the Hunters Association most wanted list. Actually, the most wanted man in the galaxy. The man who can absolutely afford everything everything and anything he wants, being normal. Sitting still for 2 hours straight in an uncomfortable position because he's tall and he doesn't want to block the kids behind him. Using a massage chair in a shopping mall because our MC told him to, like a tired Asian grandpa. He's adjusting to her world. And then later, when RMC is out on a mission and in a pinch, he hacks into her comms. She's suspicious at first because of course she is. He's still Sylus. But despite that, she lets him help. This is her stepping into his world. The shady comms, the last minute save, the unspoken trust in the middle of chaos, that is his domain. And when she expresses her suspicion, he doesn't explain himself. He acts. He's a man of action, and true to his own words.
Didn't you say sincerity was important? Actions speak louder than words.
So she matches that energy. She works with him, lets him take the lead in his environment, his world. And together they pull off this fake capture. Him pretending to turn her in to the people that were looking for her and helps her achieve her mission. They do it flawlessly. And the whole reason why Sylus is there, it's because he literally bought the castle because he wanted to show MC a place he found, one that matches a description from his book of dragon mythologies he's been reading. And it just so happens to be crawling with shady rich people doing twisted crimes. And Sylus being Sylus, he leaked the information to the Hunters Association himself. As always, he's quietly pulling strings from the shadows, effortlessly killing 2 birds with 1 stone, giving his woman a gorgeous location for their spring outing date, and conveniently helping her with her mission at the same time. And the best part, we get to see them act as enemies in public while secretly working together. They pull off this fake capture performance like it's some spy film. And God bless the writers who wrote this card because we get Sylus saying this line.
Shh. Be a good girl and stay quiet.
I just know every single Sylus mains out there freaking combusted when he said that. But yeah, they've got this Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibe going on, and I am so here for it. This dynamic has come a long way from the early I don't trust you tension and long-awaited revelry. Like, I'm telling you, their dynamic is so much more fleshed out now. It is so nice to see. This is their dynamic in a nutshell. They are doing crime. And each other. I know some players get frustrated with how MC treats Sylus early on, especially in his 4-star card, Searing Touch, or on how suspicious or cold she can be. But honestly, that is the point. This is a hunter and a wanted man. Their dynamic is built on distrust, tension, and slow burning partnership. It's not supposed to be easy and soft right away. Our MC isn't written to blindly fall in love. She pushes back, questions things, and makes him earn her trust, as she should. And that makes this moment, the one where they're working together seamlessly, where he calls her his partner in crime, so much more satisfying because we saw the road it took to get here. RMC is bold, stubborn, a little bit of a dumbass, and not afraid to stand her ground. And she's not a blank slate. And I really like that about her. As much as we don't agree with her actions sometimes, we have to remember that our main character is a tool the writers use to explore each character's dynamic. She is written to bring out the unique dynamics and hidden facets of each love interest. This is Sylus and RMC's dynamic. The tension, the push and pull, the slow shift from arch nemesis, as shown in his dragon myth, to true partners. The main story has been steadily echoing that myth, only now we're watching them rewrite it together. And now they trust each other, and it feels earned. As someone who's been here since pre-Sylus launch, watching them go from distrust to this level of intimacy and teamwork, it's everything I hoped for. One last thing before moving on. In multiple recent cards, Sylus has been nudging MC to officially join him, to join the dark side. At this point, I don't think it's even a question of if she'll cross that line, but more about when. We already know something shady is going on inside the Hunters Association. And remember, Sylus himself said this.
Your past to your future, to even all the crimes you'll inevitably commit.
If these isn't foreshadowing her switching sides, I don't know what is, and I'm so ready to see it happen. And last but definitely not least, Caleb. The Caleb girlies have been getting fed recently. I mean, 2 kiss cards in less than a month? Honestly, they deserve it, especially considering they've waited almost a year for his comeback. Well, Caleb girlies, your patience is finally paying off. So for me, I can't really find the right words to describe the theme of Caleb's card, because I feel like it's so bittersweet. Because I feel like for the Caleb girlies out there, loving this character is like that quiet ache of loving someone who's always halfway out the door. Not because he wants to leave, but because life and his trauma keeps dragging him back to the edge. So the card opens with our main character hearing news about Cloud Realm 4, a guard station in Skyhaven being blocked off by the Far Space Fleet. Naturally, for RMC, alarm bells start ringing after what went down in Homecoming Wings. When MC calls Caleb to ask about what's going on, she immediately realizes something's wrong. Caleb is hiding the fact that he's injured, and of course, Caleb being Caleb, he tries to brush it off as just a scratch. But of course she knows that that's not the full truth, and she's right, of course. When she visits him, she finds out he's badly injured from a recent crash. And he even openly admits that he wouldn't have even told her if she had not noticed first. Because that's Caleb's whole thing, isn't it? Hiding, downplaying, shouldering everything on his own. Now, I understand his perspective. He literally just re-entered MC's life recently, and she only just discovered the full extent of his involvement with the fleet, with Ever, with everything. So yeah, of course, he's hesitant. And that's exactly why their relationship hits so hard. The slow unraveling of Caleb's defenses, piece by careful piece. He's not going to open up overnight, and that's what'll make it feel so good when he finally does. Moments like these, frustrating as they are, will eventually make the sweetness feel 1,000 times more earned. So the angst really kicks in when MC visits his place in Skyhaven. While Caleb talks privately with the fleet's director, MC ends up discovering his thick stack of letters, all addressed to her, spanning several years. And these letters aren't just casual notes, they're what you think it is. They're literal goodbyes, written before each dangerous mission Caleb takes, fully prepared to never return home again, fully prepared to never seeing her again. Imagine writing your final goodbyes so frequently it just becomes another casual Tuesday night activity. And if that's not enough heartbreak, when they visited Cloud Realm 4 for the first time, he shows MC a high security chip, not for fleet intel, but for photos of them together. And his reason?
If something happened, I'd be able to see you one last time.
Caleb, man, just quit your job. Quit your job. Seriously, if your missions are so dangerous that you're casually preparing to die like fucking every day, is it really worth it? I mean, you're good at cooking, just open up a restaurant or something, cause what the fuck, man? The fact that writing his final goodbyes and storing her photos just became a habit shows how deeply he's not okay. And jokes aside, I know he can't just walk away. I know he can't just quit. He's stuck because of his involvement with Ever, and honestly, it just sucks. It's so frustrating to see him like this. I noticed there's definitely a pattern forming here. MC always learns what Caleb is hiding by snooping around, like how she learned about the Turing chip in his limited myth. Every time she tries to understand him better, he deflects or changes the subject. I really hope that as their relationship evolves, she won't have to keep discovering his secrets by accident. This is what hits me hardest about Caleb. He loves so deeply but doesn't know how to share it without shielding the pain. He hides everything, downplays everything, because he doesn't see MC as someone he can rely on. He wants to hide her and protect her from everything. Now MC is stepping deeper and deeper into his world, just seeing how much he's been carrying on his own. It's so frustrating to see them like this, but when he does eventually open up, when he finally let her in, it's going to feel so intimate. It will feel so earned and satisfying. So hang in there, Caleb girlies. Be patient. But at least Infold gave us this incredibly sweet moment of MC and Caleb revisiting Cloud Realm 4. The crash site that was previously a wasteland has transformed into this beautiful, lush landscape, and the animation of them laughing together in the boat. Oh, you know, it's scenes like these. Soft, genuine happiness that makes all the angst bearable. And just when we think we're safe, Infold hits us with a flashback of the crash itself as the ending of this card. Because how dare we feel secure even for a single moment, right? Seriously, them putting this after the whole sweet fluffy boat animation is diabolical. And Caleb girlies, hang in there, your moment is coming. When their relationship finally reaches that next stage, when Caleb finally opens up and trusts MC completely, it's going to hit so good, I'm telling you. And honestly, I really can't wait to see how their relationship evolves from here. Well, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed that. I seriously love this event. It was just very wholesome. Except for Caleb's card. Infold is keeping the quality so high with these multi-banners, and I genuinely can't wait to see what they do next. The only downside, and my only complaint, is this multi-banner cards are a bit shorter than Catch 22. Other than that, I've got no complaints. Actually, yes, I do have one more complaint. I really hope Infold finds a better way to handle storage before big updates, because so many people couldn't even open the game after this update. And it wasn't because the update itself was huge, it was the unzipping process. When the files unzip, it basically doubles the storage temporarily. And if your phone doesn't have enough space, the game you just can't open the game. So I really hope they could give us a purge unused data button or something before updates drop, or at least make this page, this manage your resources page, a lot more obvious, because apparently a lot of people didn't know that they can just delete their game assets and re-download it again. They really need to do something about this, because if it keeps happening, they're gonna lose more and more players. I genuinely can't wait to see what they're gonna do for the next multi-banner, and I'm really hoping for an alternate universe, because you just know the writers can just go absolutely wild with that kind of freedom. Anyways, leave a like if you want, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my content, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!